A so-called peace and war cannot heal the country in crisis. Yesterday, President Joseph Boakai returned to the country with a peace and war, not with solutions, and a war handed to a sitting president presiding over economic hardship, judicial crisis, and growing public anger. This is the foreign award that lands from a luxury flight, not as an honor, but we consider an insult to the people, an insult to struggling families, an insult to grieving citizens, an insult to a nation that knows the difference between peace and pretense. The image laundering award in reality is an insult because, let's be very clear, there is no peace in empty kitchens. There is no peace in broken hospitals. There is no peace where justice is delayed, denied, and manipulated to the disadvantage of the poor. And yet, the president returns angry that the streets are not dancing, angry that the people are not celebrating. But how do you celebrate suffering? How do you celebrate a peace award when the reality back home is different? How do you dance when your country is in distress? Economic distress, judicial distress. This so-called recognition reportedly from the Center for African Peace and Conflict Resolution may carry some foreign legitimacy, but in the domestic context, it carries moral bankruptcy. There's no legitimacy, there's no honor in the peace award receiving from a country when your people are suffering back home, because no serious standard of peace can ignore the allegations of brutality, the suppression of dissent, the erosion of trust in public institutions, the expulsion of a certain lawmaker for free speech, Yege Konba, the threat against a certain senator for free speech, Amara Kone, who said what everybody already knows. No serious international standard rewards a government while its people are crying out. And when confronted by the press upon arrival, what did Joseph Boakai say? He dismissed the media. He dismissed the people. He dismissed the criticism, though they are valid. He labeled citizens as barking dogs for speaking out against ills in society. That reflects a failure of leadership from an elder president who ought to embody traditional respect and values and guardians. Unfortunately, he calls you, the Liberian people, barking dogs. Unfortunately. The president's childish outburst confirms simply what many already fear, that this trip was not about honor or dignity to the state. It was about fake image building, fake image laundering. It was about praises he can get back home. It was about escaping reality while the country burns quietly at home. It's sad, so sad, the president, in love with tyranny, travels all the way in foreign country for glory, because back home, praises are in short supply. And tragically, while the president traveled in search of personal glory, hospitals remain empty and bankrupt. Shelves remain dry. Families remain stranded every day. While his luxury convoy drove from Rabos International Airport with his trophy back home to a family enjoying surplus, Liberians continue to be burdened. Empty bags, empty few things, empty futures of the youth. So no, Mr. President, no, the streets cannot dance. The streets cannot celebrate. Not when lives are getting harder and harder every day. Not when justice is getting weaker every day. Not when the gap between the rulers and the rule is widening day by day. And this is where the truth becomes unavoidable. For nearly 3 years ago, Mr. President, you promised a new beginning. You promised a moment of integrity, a moment of justice for the poor, a moment of responsible leadership, mature leadership, accountable leadership. But today, Look around. This is not a new beginning. This is rather the return of darkness. Darkness so thick that you can hardly see through. A darkness Liberians have already paid for with blood. 14 years of crisis, with suffering, with a war that was so disastrous that it destroyed families, destroyed country, it destroyed 250,000 innocent lives. We will not travel this road again, because from the very beginning, the signs were there. Before the ink on your inaugural oath could dry up, public resources misallocated for inauguration celebration were swallowed up in controversy, misused, unaccounted for, treated like private property. And that was not a mistake. That was a signal that what Unity Party officials did, eating up public resources among themselves, was the signal that corruption had returned, that impunity had returned, that arrogance was back. And since then, everything has followed on the same wrong, evil trajectory. The rule of law continuing to be undermined, turning laws violated and confiscated, due process ignored and trashed underfoot, the economy crushing and killing the people every day, prices rising, jobs disappearing, young people abandoned, families cannot eat, graduates cannot find work, civil servants cannot survive. And what does this government do? Ignore the plight of the people, the struggling people, while government officials continue to live large, eat large, and build large homes in foreign countries, some locally. This is not governance. This is marginalization of millions of Liberians. And then the blood of innocent citizens continue to be spilled. Peaceful citizens demanding justice continue to be met with brutality and killed in cold blood. Lives lost, justice denied. And the message you are sending is chillingly clear. You are creating, Mr. President, a climate of fear that is threatening civil, legitimate stability, sending a message that unless you stay quiet, you will suffer. At the same time, democracy itself is being weakened. A partisan elections commission's chairman has been appointed. Legislature in chaos, a judiciary ignored. Elected voices continue to be targeted, and voices who speak truth to power are now being targeted, sent to jail, or silenced. We have seen this road before, Mr. President, and we know exactly where it leads. Instability, conflict, and national collapse. We will not go there again. We will not allow you to collapse our democracy, destroy our country, and retrogress us back to where we were. War, never again. That's why we will stand and fight peacefully. The people have been pushed out of their homes, while the powerful expand their homes, building homes, and you do nothing about it. Is this justice, Mr. President? This is not justice, but oppression of the poor. So let us stop pretending this is accidental. This is a larger part of a pattern, an evil pattern of governance that is being perpetuated and enlarged. A dangerous pattern that must be resisted. A pattern that, if left unchecked, could break this country down to pieces and throw us back 1,000 years. Because when a nation reaches this point, to sit is to compromise your integrity. and silence becomes surrender. We will not be silent. Neither are we going to sit supine and allow a desecration of our democracy. So today, we say clearly, boldly, without fear, we will not sit and watch our country collapse. We will not normalize injustice. We will not bow to arrogant, discourteous leadership. We will not. Truth may be crushed to the ground, but it always rises again. So no matter how many barking dogs are unleashed by the degraded ministry of disinformation under an ineffective Jeremy Pierre, the people may be insultingly dismissed by an arrogant, loose-talking president, but the fight can never be dismissed. And that fight is Joseph Boakai's so-called peace award is undeserved and a mockery to the people, because Liberia is in a preventable crisis, not a peaceful situation. And so we always speak the loudest and speak truth to power. So no matter how many barking dogs are unleashed by a degraded ministry of disinformation under an ineffective Jeremy Pierre, the people may even be insultingly dismissed by an arrogant, loose-talking president, but the fight cannot be dismissed. Joseph Boakai's so-called peace award is undeserved and remains a mockery to the people of Liberia, because Liberia is in a preventable crisis at all levels, not peace.